Hello and welcome. In this video segment we will work through step 1 through 5 of tutorial 2. These steps will demonstrate how the geometry of this part is constructed. On the screen is the completed geometry. Shortly I will create a new file and start at step 1. But before we do that, let's review the finished geometry on the screen. This part is symmetrical about the X and Y axes. So initially we will create the upper right quarter of the geometry. That's the lines, arcs, above and to the right of these two center lines. Next we will mirror about the X-axis to get the lower half, and finally mirror all those entities about the Y-axis to complete the part. Let's get going and start a new part and start at step 1. I'm going to move up to the top left hand corner of my screen and select the icon for new part. The center of the grid is the origin, x0, y0. For step 1 we're going to create a quarter of the outside geometry. I'm going to move into create and then select rectangle. The first thing I'd like to do is input the width. I'm going to move up and click in the white area for width and type in 5.0 and then hit the tab key on my keyboard and type in 3.0 and hit enter. Now when prompted, select position of first corner. I'm going to move on down and select the origin. Everything looks great, so I'm going to move on up and hit the OK button. And also I'm going to move up to the top and select screen fit. Moving on to step 2, what we're going to do now is create the inside geometry. We're going to create some parallel lines. Into create, line, and then right down the bottom, create, line, parallel. For the first prompt, select a line. I'm going to pick the top horizontal line, and then for the next prompt, select the point to place a parallel line through. I'm going to pick a point below this line. What I'd like to do next is input the distance. As you can see, the distance is highlighted at present. I'm going to type in 0.5 and hit enter. To continue using the same command, I'm going to select the apply button. Now to create more parallel lines with the same distance, I'm going to click on the distance icon. As you can see, it's highlighted in red. We're locked in now to 0.5. For the next prompt, select a line. I'm going to move on down and select the right hand vertical line, and then for the next prompt, indicate the offset direction. I'm going to pick a point to the left. Everything looks good. I'm going to go up and pick the OK button. So there are the two parallel lines. Next we're going to create some arcs. Create arc, and we're going to use create arc polar. First thing, I'm going to input the radius. I'm going to click and type in 1.0 and then hit my tab button. We've tabbed over to the diameter. I'm going to hit tab again. The start angle for this arc is 180. Then I'm going to hit tab. The end angle 270. And now I'm going to hit enter. Now enter the center point. I'm going to move on and select this intersection point. And there's our arc. I'm now going to select the apply button. Now for our next arc, I'm going to move on up, click in the radius section, type in 1.0, hit tab, rover to diameter, hit tab again, and start angle. I'm going to input 270, hit tab, and for the end angle 0, I'm just going to leave it and hit enter. Now for the center point, I'm going to move over to the left and pick the intersection of these two lines. Everything's looking great. I'm going to hit the apply. I'm going to move over for the next arc. I'm going to click in radius. This time I'm going to type in 31/64/2. So the radius is 31/64 divided by 2. Let's hit tab over to start angle. This time the start angle is 270. I'm going to hit tab, and the end angle 90. I'm going to hit enter. We're going to use the same point, and there it is. Everything's looking great. I hit the OK button. Let's move on. We're going to go back into arc again, but this time create a circle center point. The first thing I'm going to do is input the diameter. I'm going to type in 31/64 and hit enter. And when prompted, enter the center point. I'm going to move over to the right, and as you can see, it's going to snap to the center of that arc. Everything looks great. Let's go and hit that check mark. Everything's looking good. Next up, we're going to create some fillets. Move into create, fillet, and fillet entities. First thing I'm going to do is set up the radius 0.0625, enter. And if you look just to the right, you'll notice my trim is on. For the prompt, select an entity. I'm going to pick this arc and this line. As you can see, everything's been trimmed. I'm going to pick the same line again, and this arc, and this line. So everything looks great. Hit the check mark. What I'd like to do now is delete the left vertical line and this bottom horizontal line. So I'm going to click the bottom horizontal and click on the left vertical, and then move up to the toolbar at the top and select delete entities, and they've gone. Next step is step 3, where we'll be transforming the geometry. We're going to be using mirror. So I'm going to move up X form and select mirror. Now when prompted, select the entities to mirror. What I'm going to do is select all, and then right at the very bottom of this dialog box, I'm going to hit the check mark for OK. We've successfully captured all the entities. I'm going to move over to the right of the screen and hit the End Selection button. Next, as you can see, I've got Copy turned on, and what I'd like to do is mirror about the X axis. So I'm going to move on down and hit this radio button. Moving on down, you can see we have the preview set up, but I'm also going to put a check mark against fit. Now everything looks fine. What I'm going to do is move on down and hit the apply button, because I'd like to continue using mirror. Now the next prompt, select entities to mirror. We're going to do the same again. Select all, right down the bottom, pick OK. Everything's been captured successfully. Move on over to the right and pick End Selection. We're still on Copy. This time we're going to mirror about the Y-axis. Everything looks great. So now we can select the OK. I'm going to move on up now and do a screen clear colors. So everything's looking great. Step 4, what we're going to do is join up some arcs. If we move over to the screen, you can see this circle, we have an arc and another arc. It's not one complete arc. Let's join them up. Edit, join. So what we're going to do, pick this half and the other half, pick this half and the other half, and then move on up and hit the end selection. So now what we've got is a complete circle. Our final step, step 5, let's do a save. 5, down here, save as, and then you can type in the name of your file. This completes this video segment. Thanks a lot for watching.